Deadman mode, RuneScape's most punishing game mode to date. A seasonal event where you start on a fresh account and attempt to survive to the final 1v1 player vs player tournament. And with it being over a year since its last seasonal event, the hype for this Deadman mode tournament has been real. So real that a player like myself who has never stepped foot into Deadman mode will even be playing. Now for those unfamiliar with the game mode, it's a last man standing tournament that tests a player's game knowledge, PvP mechanics, and depth of armchair sweat. And I will be stepping out of my average player shell in respect to these variables, very much up for the challenge. You see, all prior Deadman mode finals were decided by clan massing till one player was left standing, and then subsequently clan massing till a certain player base was left standing that then duked it out in a 1v1 tournament. Not this time. At the close of the tournament, the players who have the top 2k total level will be independently invited to a 1v1 final. And when that was revealed, I had one clear goal in mind: to be one of those 2k players and to partake in the 1v1 stage of my first Deadman mode. But before we get ahead of ourselves, this video here is day 1 of said tournament. So day 1 for the average scaper, and I say average because I do have a full-time job. However, I did take the day off of work to partake in this iconic first day moment. I have watched the mass exodus to the Stronghold of Security on countless of creators' videos, but let me tell you something. It's an experience being there in person yourself, and with only a 15-minute immunity at the start of the tournament, my adrenaline was pumping because everyone around me would soon be lethal. Now, I would advise having a bit of a game plan when at least starting out in the tournament, that way you're just not left floundering around. My plan here was to get 2k from the Stronghold of Security, keeping reserve rebuild funds in the lower level chests in the event I did die. Now, I did quickly teleport to Lumbridge after getting the 2k, and this was to complete the quest X marks the spot. I believe this starting plan was the case for most players, as when I went to Lumbridge to get a shovel from the general store, it was sold out. Luckily though, I was able to leg it over to Falador and get the shovel on the floor of the estate agent's house. But on my way back, I quickly saw the clock of my immunity lowering, and I saw many players at a much higher combat bracket of me, and I knew I would feel much better and safer if I beefed up a little. Now on my way back, I also did pick up some Fashionscape as well as a teleport. Now after doing so, I completed the quest X marked the spot, and the reason I did so was for the XP lamp, which I used on agility, getting level 16. My starting plan was to grind agility. Now I did sneak in starting the quest Vampire Slayer as I was already in Draenor, after which I then continued to complete the Draenor Rooftop Agility course until level 30. After which, teleporting with my Chronicle of Varrock to continue my agility grind. Now I do just want to add in here that Deadman mode can be quite the grind. You see the tournament started at 12 p.m. British Standard Time, but over here across the pond, that was a 7 a.m. start. And I didn't sleep much last night, super anxious, super nervous, but also excited for the tournament. And luckily, I do have a family that is a very nice family. As you see, I was grinding away at the Agility Rooftop Pyramid, where my dad then came in, and a classic Canadian father, he hooked me up with a Tim Hortons breakfast sandwich. Thanks, Dad. With a little more energy in my tank, I continued on the Varrock Rooftop course until I got level 50 agility. Something that is new to this Deadman mode is combat bracket worlds. Now what these are is that they're worlds that are explicitly allowed to be accessed based on your combat bracket. Now I will be listing these on the screen. And my plan was to be bullish in gaining combat levels in order to unlock these combat level worlds. In doing so, you also unlock subsequent quests which are affiliated to them. And as an average player, I'm obviously not a big quest guy, so this path has seemed the most appropriate. Now another additive to this Deadman mode tournament is in the form of sigils. These are equipable perks. Now the full extent of these perks is still being revealed over the course of the tournament. For myself though, you get to choose one of 3, and I chose the sigil known as Feral Fighter, and this was to greatly increase my combat gained experience in the melee stats. After which I completed the quest Vampire Slayer, getting tons of experience in attack, and then proceeding to train at the Lumbridge Goblins till I reached level 35 combat. The next combat bracket world was level 36 to 71, and before unlocking it, I thought it would be wise to be in a position to have stats to gather food if needed. So because of this, I ended up fishing in Lumbridge to level 35 and got whatever cooking levels that came along with it. And with those levels behind me, I then proceeded to get 36 combat. So when you first enter into this new combat bracket world, you will have 1 hour of immunity, as you are at the low end of the food chain as far as it goes, so I think it's a great feature. And I would advise here that you do make the most of the time, as once that 1 hour times down, it is gone. Now, the reason I had grinded agility prior to entering to this combat bracket was so that I would be safe with the immunity when climbing the desert agility pyramid. And after completing 4 successful laps, I traded the pyramid tops for 40k, and I hope to use this money for gear and supplies. A few of my first purchases were adamant gloves, unlocked with this world, a mithril scimitar, and adamant plate legs. At this point in time, I was getting super nervous having only tunas and shrimp to my name, and I was glad I had made that decision prior entering into this world and gotten my stats up to gather food. So my remaining immunity was used to bolster my food situation, and I ended up going to Catherby to fish tuna and lobsters. At this point, I had played for about 4 hours and decided I should take a break and stretch my legs. On my return, I thought it'd be best to look a little stronger than I actually was, so I ended up going to Lumbridge and training for base 40 melee stats on the goblins there. Now this is super close to a safe zone and very easy to escape in the event I was attacked. Looking for a stronger foe, I then decided to continue my combat grind on Varrock Palace Guards. Now, these are one of the few NPCs that you can train on in a complete safe area. And while training here, I did get some lucky RNG and rolled on the Deadman mode supply drop table. Now, my drop was in the form of prayer potions and nature runes. Now, when I did sell these at the Grand Exchange, and as well with my pyramid funds, I was able to get some gear upgrades, and what I ended up buying was a rune scimitar and power amulet. Now, I have been mentioning these safe zones, and as many people are probably aware, Deadman mode is not a safe game mode. When you're not in these zones, other players have the ability to attack and kill you, and upon death, you will lose all worn items as well as all inventory items. The player that does end up killing you will also receive a bank key, which will allow them to loot the 10 best items from your bank. Taking into account, you can protect items in what is known as a safety deposit box. However, cash is not allowed to be deposited in this. With that in mind, I did buy an additional rune scimitar and placed it within my safety box. In case I did die, I would still be able to quickly re-gear and continue my combat grind. Not to forget to point out, this is 3 life Deadman mode. At that point, the player who kills you on your 3rd death will actually have access to 28 items from your bank, including those in your deposit box, and at which this point, your account, all combat stats will be reset, and you'll be starting in that first world again. Wanting to be a bit more proactive, I decided to train on the skeletons in the wilderness by the mages Varrock. Now these still are close to a safe zone in the event I was attacked, however by fighting wilderness creatures, I was giving myself the potential to receive an emblem on the wilderness drop table. Unfortunately, I did not receive any emblems today, however I did experience my first attack by a PKer. Even though I was close to a safe zone, this game mode definitely gets your blood pumping. I had so much fun today. As well, I will be showcasing 3 metrics on my journey to the final 1v1s. These metrics will include total deaths, currently 0, as well as total gameplay, roughly 7.5 hours, and lastly, my high score ranking. Now, taking into account, I will be getting this ranking right after I log out and finish playing for the day, and after my first day, I had a rank of 1015. And I was pleasantly surprised by this. I know Deadman mode is a marathon and not a sprint. However, for my first day of Deadman mode and my first time ever playing the mode, I'm quite happy with my first day progress. Now, I did finish the day being 1 combat level shy of the next combat bracket world, and this was done so on my return I would get that immunity as well as have many more quest unlocks. So if you are curious on how my progress will fare, no, I do have intentions to be releasing Deadman progress videos on my way towards that final. Just taking into account I do return to work tomorrow, so a progress video, if it were to come out, will be on this weekend. So make sure to be subscribed for that. And with all that being said, guys, I will see you next time.